What's up, world? What's up, Zion? It's Prince Easy coming at you again once more as usual. I do have a couple slides that I want to share with you in this fine day that we're having. And of course, before we get to those slides, I want to issue a fair use disclaimer, right? For the copyrighted material that's going to be shown here in this here video, right? So, yeah, without further ado, let's get to the conversations, as we call them, right? Yeah, of course, right? We gotta get that momentum going, right? Support from any group out there, please. Evangelicals, politicians, the masses, somebody. Our plight, we are chosen. It's written in the Bible. Yeah, but it's not directed to you. We are not talking about you. You are Esau, Jacob's brother. And that's not being, I don't know, racist or anything like that, but like, leave our faith alone, right? Believe what you believe. Okay, stop masquerading. But they're not really, are they? Judeo-Christian. Do you know what type of contradiction that is? That's a big contradiction. A big contradiction. It's separating Christ from Judah. And Judah is Christ. So Judeo is confusing, but it is tribalism. That's what it is. Right? They have chosen their tribe. Right? The tribe of kings, of course. Right? They cannot choose a lowly tribe and alone. They have to choose the tribe of kings. Why? Because that denotes power. And they've gone on for too long, if you ask me. This deception, and people really not asking questions, right? It's good that people have faith, but damn, the fruits, yeah, the fruits, right? And I don't need nobody to tell me anything about these people, right? We know each other personally, so to speak. Yeah, you know what ruined coastal, I don't know, ecosystems all over the world, mostly in developing countries? Fishing. Large scale, industrial scale fishing. So what am I saying? Right? Since that has not begun in our country, in Tanzania, right? We have just released our first ship, right? Our first shipping vessel. Then we have to develop disciplines, or just start fishing in farms, right? Skip all the steps and look at what China is doing, right? They have this vessel, this huge vessel that they keep fish in it, right? That's good, right? That's good. But we should not go through what China went through, right? Now they are trying to reclaim. They're trying to bring back that life that they destroyed. So we should skip that step, right? We should not be headed to that same mistake just for profit, yeah? And of course, it would go a really, really long way if our beaches were white, meaning clean, without any stuff unwanted. It would go a really long way. towards even tourism, right? It's a clean place, it looks attractive, right? The sand is clear. People can take pictures up in there, right? And that's what's going to happen when people see that it is clean. And things like that stimulate tourism, right? If you need a reason. Well, I couldn't say any better than what George said. I linked to the video. Hate. It is hate. Now, this is not new, right? I think people have short attention spans these days, I guess. This is not a new phenomenon, right? I remember, if not a year or two back, it was the same thing, and right? It was in the UK over there, right? And we had our brothers and sisters, melanated brothers and sisters, right? Making videos that they are actually scared, right? It happened in this isolated town, if my memory serves me right? It happened in this isolated town where they were specifically targeting black people, right? And I don't remember the incident that brought these people outside, but hey, they only wanna tear up shit if it's a black man, right? But if it's an Israeli killing the Palestinians, yeah, they leave old people to that, right? The youth, the youth, they represent the biggest problem. The young people are so arrogant and unwise in what they pursue. Hence, they become destructive, right? This is a real conversation here, right? People are too fast, to blame the older generation, right? They're doing what they have to do within the confines of the systems that they have been handed over to, right? To basically just inherit that, right? And if we want to unshackle ourselves from that, then we have to really act responsibly, and we are not, right? These riots are mostly young people wreaking havoc. Go to Mali, mostly young people, their limbs being torn apart, just going on a murder rampage, right? So this world right now, the young people are the problem. They have been brainwashed to believe nonsense, right? So the only alternative is this: present the world as it is, and then listen. What alternatives do they have? And then we do it together. But one group cannot be left out, right? Women, the elderly, the young people, all of us. Right? So, yeah, that's my advice. That's how I went about my life, right? I associated myself mostly with elderly people than me, more than younger people, because I've seen the stupidity. I've seen the stupidity, and I've also seen the despair, right? That's what brought about the stupidity in the first place. They see the world for what it is, and they clearly understand that it should not be like this. Right? So all sides have grievances, and they all deserve to be heard, and that's the problem right there. Right? This reactionary, as I call it here, many times, this reactionary spirit, right? So again, this is for their benefit, right? Now they have deflected their sins towards us. We are the problem, right? The same countries that NATO and the US have invaded. We are the problem. Okay. Israel has instructed its armed forces to prepare the possibility of acting alone against Iran, signaling that it intends to retain the capacity to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon, regardless of any diplomatic agreement that may emerge between Iran and the US. The directive was issued by the First Minister Israel Katz, aimed amid renewed international effort to secure a settlement of Iran's nuclear program. Too many words over there. They are not talking about Iran's nuclear program, but they keep insisting that. I don't know where Crooks is getting his words, but there's no conversation about the nuclear program, nor their missile program anywhere. But this is the goal, to make Iran dull. The only way to make Iran dull is to take away their weapons, just like they did Germany or Japan, and they became colonies, as we can see today. Not to say that it wasn't the right decision back then, but again, moderation. They overdid it, and that time it was a monopoly on power, and the US was right there, and what happened, right? And the US just, right, I don't even need to tell the story, right? From Vietnam to Iran, just havoc. My God. Now there is talk about fake news, about the leaks that were circulating online pertaining to what was agreed upon, right? And of course, the talk of the Indian ship being struck, right? And I thought this was old, right? Because a couple of weeks or a couple of days, I may even say, there was a strike, and they boarded this ship, right, which was from Iran, with Indian crewmen. There were 11 or something like that, if my memory serves me right. But no, apparently there's a whole other new one. And well, it is what it is, right? They will never respect you until you respect yourself. And that's the responsibility of India. You're not being really respected. Right? They have a whole plan here, right? Right? A proper attack, they say. Yeah? Well, this illusion that this guy is a trillionaire, this illusion, because that's what it is, illusion, right? Because these days, when somebody or some list like Forbes tell you that this person is worth this much money, be very cautious of that and know exactly what they're saying. And especially for this guy here. Especially for this guy. But again, younger people are trying to relate to this, so what do? Come up with new ideologies like fake it till you make it and this and that, and, you know, the whole nine. Right? Deception. until they reach the top, and then they find the ultimate deception, and they seem like, one of those movies like a professional con artist stumbles upon a pickpocket and how they see him or how they see themselves, right? Okay, we know you're a battering ram, so we are paying attention. So other news are saying this, right? 3 sailors dead. So what then? Was Trump lying? He didn't know that he's the commander-in-chief, right? Yeah. This is what we get for entertaining this nonsense. And these people, you had the nerve to pull the ear photo. Really? Huh? Narrative control, right? Narrative control over who? Muslims and Christians. This illusion is created for you. This delusion of aliens coming to Earth is created for you specifically. It's a discombobulation weapon. Right? So you need to have a strong foundation. Foundations such as God exists. That's number one. Number two, the spirit realm exists. Number three, there is not everything is in or working towards your best interests. We are at war, and these people have waged war against us for years. Right? Some choose to call us Goyam, others choose to call us the uninitiated. And we are seen exactly as that, Keto. No difference. And if you are Keto, you get treated like Keto. Well, this is funny, but the reality is you should really look at the plain duopoly and what is happening to them. There's going to be no plane for you to stand in. Okay? Right? Boeing, Airbus, they're not doing so well. Right? Now all the heavy lifting is being done by China and Russia. Sometimes separately, sometimes together. Right? So forget about standing up on your flight. No. There's not going to be a standing up thing for you to stand on. There's going to be no planes in the skies. It is bad right now. Okay? It is really bad. Right? And I can attest to that. Right? Between the conflict over there in the so-called Middle East and in Russia, there's not much aviation going on. Right? Yeah. I cannot stand with you if you don't stand on business. Let's just say that. Okay, if you want to entertain clowns, then continue entertaining clowns. Okay, I stand with people who understand themselves. Right? So guess what this is gonna do? The inevitable. Right? What happened in Nigeria after the strike? You need to follow up that story. Retaliation came. Okay? It's the same thing here. Retaliation is gonna come. And since it wasn't in your schedule, you didn't plan for this, it's gonna cost you. Because if you did, you wouldn't need the US to do it for you. I know you have the capacity to do it yourself. Yeah, this is where we are. And what does that say about you, Western societies? Right? I'm gonna be interested to see this plague hit Africa. Right? Think about Africans. Right? Yeah, this is to be expected. We are the adversary. You need to get that into your minds. Israelites, Africans, you don't have to do anything. You just have a target on your back. Right? People should be looking into this, because this is one way to curtail criticism. Right? People can just declare you mentally unstable, as if under these circumstances anybody can remain mentally stable. It's actually destabilizing. But now they can drag you. Right? And check on the years also when these conversations were being had. Well, what? You didn't pay the piper or what? Right. This is Korea. And guess what they're celebrating? I think the narrative tells for itself, right? So next time we hear these people talk about population decline, right? Because believe me, you do have productive people, but you do not have reproductive people. And this is not helping your mathematics right there. This is just common sense. Right? This is just common sense. They might be productive, but they are not reproductive. Cannot believe this. But again, this is some divine stuff right here. How can these people be so intelligent and yet so stupid at the same time? It's mind-boggling. Huh? Again, you are the enemy. Understand that. It needs to sink in. Stop trying to shape-shift into their institutions. That will compromise your soul for sure. Believe that. Right? Look at what their peak system produces. Right? Many things are being talked about. Right? It was a whole event. Look at that. Another one goes missing. UFOs. It is all prepared for you. Okay? Yeah. So, Tosi done come out here and done said the things that we've been talking about for a long time. We've been having conversation with the Russians about this. And these are military programs. Okay? They're not scientific, no. They are military programs. And that is the front line that you're seeing right there. And still, some people are going to play dumb as if these things don't exist, you know. Well, those are the updates. So, we're going to see, right? We're going to see. But the stage is already set, and the Israelis are signaling that the US and Iran might reach an agreement, right? And US is going to take itself out of this predicament by leaving the Middle East and leaving Israel to do it itself. We gave it weapons, right? They have a stock right now for at least one go around, right? Or two. How many hits do you think they can take? But hey, what do I know? These people cannot be helped. They cannot. They want this, and they're gonna pursue it. Free will and all, right? So yeah, that's the updates for you. And of course, we are gonna have this conversation the next time we try to update each other, right? So yeah, I'll put a pin on it right there. And yeah, Prince Easy signing out. Love you. Bye.